Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Worthy Bitch podcast. Today we are going to do part 2 of 28 lessons in my 28 years. So I'm very excited. We're going to pick up with number 15 and go on to 28. So let's just get right on to it. This is part 2. If you have not listened to part 1, go ahead, pause this, listen to part 1, and come back here afterwards if you want to. It's not necessary, but it's just a little fun. All right, number 15. I have some apple cider here today, and it's so delicious. It's Halloween. I'm recording this on Halloween. My family's on their way to celebrate my birthday and have a little Halloween get together and carve a pumpkin, and I got some apple cider and it's sparked with a little bit of spiced rum, and yes, it's very delicious. Okay, number 15. People live up to the expectations that you place on them. Yeah, maybe not even because that's who they are, but because that is what you expect of them, so that's what you're going to find. That's what you're going to see, that's what you're going to create, etc. That is what you are searching for. We always find what we search for. Number 16. So I think the lesson is to not place false expectations on people. And not to place terrible expectations on people that you wouldn't want them to live up to. Okay, number 16. I got the courage to pick myself up and mother myself out of a toxic relationship that I was holding on to, hoping would change. 1, I learned what it meant to be an adult and to stand on my own 2 feet in that moment. And 2, you get what you allow. Don't ever settle. You get what you allow. People treat you how you allow them to treat you. And if you settle for something that is less than magical, less than what you want, that's what you're going to get. So stop expecting something to be what it's not and settling for something less than, wanting it to change. I don't know. I just feel like that's a big lesson I've learned in my life. Number 17. I learned how to be my own best friend. I think this is one of the biggest ones. It was very hard for me. I actually used to hate myself. I had a really hard time being alone with myself. I didn't know who I was. Then it kind of swung the other way after that. I kind of isolated and withdrew myself in order to reclaim my identity in a way, and I became my own best friend. And it changed my entire life for the better. I am so grateful to be able to rely on myself. I know that I'm always there. I always have my own back. I trust myself so much more, and it's growing every single day. But being your own best friend changes everything. It is one of the keys of life. It really is. You don't hate yourself into a beautiful life. You love yourself into a beautiful life. I am the only one who is going to be with me every second of every day for the rest of my life, so I better get to know, like, and trust myself, and you better do the same. The relationship with yourself is the most important one because you are the only one who will ever truly know you. That goes back to one of the other lessons, is that you are a different you in everyone else's little world, everyone else's version of life, and so you will only truly know who you are. And that's a beautiful thing. Be your own best friend. Number 18, I moved back in with my mom and started over again. Thought my life was over, but it was just beginning, actually. I knew I made the right decision, but that didn't change the fact that it was heartbreaking and I was miserable over it, but it was only temporary. I had to overcome that. I had to learn what that was like. I had to feel that. And that pushed me to be my own best friend, I think, even more. Number 19, I learned how to force myself to stop the same toxic patterns that I had been repeating for years, and also watching my ancestors do the same toxic patterns. I mean, it would have been so easy for me to fall back into the same old ways, but I knew that choice would only put me right back into that same form of misery, and I wanted nothing to do with that. And even though I was still miserable and hurting, I knew that it was all necessary and that one day it would be worth it. One day, forcing myself to break the toxic patterns of my family lineage, both sides, will all be worth it, not only for me, but for, I have already seen healing begin happening in the other members of my family because of things that I've broken in my own life, and it's really amazing. And I know that it's going to be the same way and even better for those to come. Number 20, I healed myself from the most toxic relationship that I chose for myself in this life. It took longer than the relationship itself even lasted, and I had to fight my way through it most of the time, but I did it. I finally broke free of that bond, that pattern that had kept my family lineage stuck in that debilitating cycle for generations. I don't even know how long, but I do know that it has been going on since before my great-great-grandmother. So that's a long time of these same types of toxic cycles. Number 21. This is one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever received. I don't know where it came from, and I'm not exactly sure whose quote this is, but the quote, "Thoughts become things and words give you wings," that has changed my entire life. It changed the way that I think. It changed the way that I speak. I am a lot more conscious of the thoughts that I allow myself to think. I'm a lot more conscious of the words that I say, the things that I speak to others. I do not want to think about something terrible and then end up having that. And I want to be able to fly. So I don't want to be saying terrible, ugly, heavy words that keep me heavy and not able to have my wings. Number 22. Knowledge is power. And it is meant to be shared. This is something that I've always heard growing up. Knowledge is power. And yeah, duh. I mean, the more you know, the easier life is for you in a lot of ways. But it's more true than I even realized. And it's not just like book knowledge. It's like self-knowledge, wisdom, a certain type of wisdom. And that knowledge, that wisdom is meant to be shared with the world. It's meant to be shared with everyone. I came up with this little quote because I have been around a lot of really intelligent people who I do not find, in my opinion, to be very wise because they use their intelligence to make others feel less than. And I don't think that that is the point of the knowledge is power thing. I don't think that it's important to make other people feel terrible about themselves if they're uneducated about something. I think what makes a person wise versus just intelligent is that they recognize that other people are uneducated, and them as the wiser one, it's their job to educate them. So a smart excuse me. A smart person knows a lot of things and makes those who are uneducated feel less than. A wise person shares that knowledge to educate the uneducated. That's a big difference. That is a big difference. That's my little quote. Number 23. Oh, you are a different person in each individual's world. For some reason, I thought that was earlier, but yeah, that goes back to not trying to change people and being your own best friend, and nobody else will ever know you like you know you. You are a different person in each individual's world, and that's some badass shit. It really is, because that gives you an opportunity to embrace your chameleon powers. Like, you get to literally be somebody different to every single person, and I think that's beautiful. It actually used to bother me that I was known differently from do you know what I mean? I was known differently by everybody I knew, and I was a different person to each one of them. But I started to think about that and how when you communicate with other people about like the people that you care about, they're a different person in their eyes too, and you have a different relationship with everyone, and it's actually a very beautiful, magical thing. Okay, number 24. So number 23, you're a different person, each person's individual world from their perspective, and that's cool. It's awesome. Number 24, you will find your tribe. It may feel impossible right now, especially if you feel like the black sheep of the family. If you feel like the outcast, it may feel impossible, but you will find your tribe. Tribe, I promise you. But you do have to look for them, and you do also have to be ready for them when they arrive. You can't be shut down. You can't be closed off. That's not the answer. That's not how you're going to find your people. That's how, yeah, you're going to block out the people you don't want, but guess what? You're also going to block out the people that you do want. That's fun, huh? No, that's not how you find your tribe. Having discernment and being aware and using like your conscious and stuff like that, your intuition is important, but don't close yourself. Don't alienate yourself. It's not how you find your tribe. Number 25, shutting down to protect yourself not only blocks out the challenges, but also the rewards. Same like with the tribe. Blocking out the negative is blocking out the positive. Same goes for challenges and rewards. How are you ever going to receive a reward if you don't take on that challenge and overcome that challenge? It's not possible. Shutting down to protect yourself. It may be protecting yourself, but it's also keeping you playing small, which in the long run is not protecting yourself. It's just actually sabotaging yourself. Do not shut down. Do not alienate yourself. I did this for years and years and years. I would lock myself up in my room for a long time and just be by myself. And in a lot of ways, yes, there's a lot of value in spending alone time and figuring out who you are. But there's a difference between spending time alone in order to figure out who you are and alienating yourself in order to avoid others, because that is avoiding who you are. Because the reason why we get triggered by other people is because they are showing them something. They are showing us through them something about us that is triggering us, and that's why it hurts us. So by being with other people, it actually expands you. It's important to have both. Have your alone time, but also have your people. I don't mean super toxic people that are triggering you. You know, don't take my words out of context here. Number 26. I think I have something in my throat. I need to use my Beekeeper's Naturals throat spray and get that little tickle out. Y'all, that stuff works so good. Beekeeper's Naturals. It's propolis throat spray, and it heals your throat so quickly, and it tastes like honey. It's not like any of those like chloroseptic bullshit things that are disgusting. No, this stuff is magical. Beekeepersnaturals.com. Okay, number 26. Self-awareness is the first step to self-healing. Self-awareness is the first step in self-healing. So get to know yourself, free of judgment. Stop judging yourself. Stop telling yourself how terrible, awful, bad you are. If you wouldn't say it to a 4-year-old, do not say it to yourself. That's terrible. That's terrible. You are a 4-year-old inside of you. Have compassion with yourself. Get to know yourself. Understand why you think /do/ are the way you are, and be okay with that, and love yourself into the changes that you want to make, into the person that you want to be. But don't judge yourself, and avoiding yourself and trying to pretend like the things that you don't like about yourself are not actually there, and all of those things. That's not gonna do anybody any good, especially you. It's just gonna keep you going down. So self-awareness is the first step in self-healing. Be discerning with your thoughts and compassionate with your emotions. Question your thoughts. Why are they there? If they're making you feel negative and terrible and bad, why are they there? Get rid of those. If you need them for something, figure out, sort them out, and then boom, bye. Don't let thoughts keep making you feel bad. And then have compassion with your emotions. Your emotions are there. They're energy in motion. They're there to teach you something. Let them move through your body and release so that they don't build up. That's why people have like freakouts is because they're holding things in and then letting them explode. Trust me, I know from personal experience. I am the queen of having master freakouts. And it comes from suppressing emotions. Okay, number 27. Ooh, into the last two. Number 27. We are not a product of our past, rather a product of the choices, stories, and decisions that we make about our past. You're not what happened to you. You're the story that you tell yourself in your head about what happened to you. That's what makes you who you are. So stop telling yourself all these terrible things about your past and about whatever happened to you and whoever's a part of your life and he did this and how dare they this and I can't believe that and who cares about all of that. Change your story. Change that internal dialogue and turn it into something good. Turn it into something that you like. Turn it into something that creates a beautiful life for yourself, not something that keeps you in that place. Because by sitting there being like, oh, how dare they, and holding on to all of those negative things, that's making you that. Stop doing that. Do not be what you hate by hating something. That's what happens when people hate. Haters hate, and they are the hate. Do you get that? Do you see that? Don't be a hater. Don't hate yourself. Don't hate anything. Like, you are becoming the hate. You're becoming the thing that you despise most. Okay, last one, number 28. This is the one that has been a question for me for my entire life. I have asked myself this question. It has haunted me. I have been so broken over trying to figure out the answer to this question. What is the purpose of life? What is life? I will walk around saying this. What is life? Like, I used to be so confused by the things that would go on in life. What is this life thing? Like, why even life? The purpose of life, in my opinion, that I have found in my 28 years, the purpose of life is love, relationship, and creation. The purpose of life is to feel love, to create relationship with those around us, and to do beautiful things as humans with other humans. That's the purpose of life. I really, truly believe that. And since I've accepted that and allowed myself to be like, wow, because I used to be like, oh my gosh, everything matters, nothing matters. We're just going to die one day. So, I mean, we're just here and then we're going to die one day. What's the point of anything anyway? That's the beauty of it. It's all temporary. Wow, how amazing. It's all temporary. We're just going to move on one day. That's power. That's what makes it even better, actually. So that gives you permission to make mistakes, to go for it, to not hold back, to not second guess yourself, to do that thing that scares you the most in life. You know? It's a beautiful thing. Well, that is it. That is all I have for you. My 28 lessons and the 28 years of my life. It has been a beautiful 28 years. It has been a lot of lessons learned. They have not all been learned from a positive experience, but they have all resulted in giving me positive lessons about my life, and I'm very grateful for everything in my life. And there's tons more, obviously, lessons I've learned and stuff like that I didn't have room to fit in my 28 years. These are just some highlights that came to mind when I sat down to write this, but I hope that it resonates with you. Maybe you have learned the same, or this is something that has helped you with something that you're going through. I would love to hear about it. Leave me a review or send me a message on Instagram or an email or anything. Reach out to me. I would love to hear about all of your experiences, lessons you've learned, etc. But other than that, you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Peace out, chicasitas.